This country provides help to support people who need help. But unfortunately, some of these people take advantage of it. Most of the states in this country became in debt to provide assistance to people. California is one of these states who are in debt because it provides assistance without any prerequisites. My claim is, I'm agreeing that the state of California should approve the drug testing to welfare recipients, because doing this, the government can see where the taxpayer money goes, can reduce its debt, and can make people employable. This is a story from a friend of mine who was getting welfare assistance for her 2 kids. But unfortunately, that money was not supporting those kids. It was supporting my friend's drug habits. She was receiving more than $600 a month in welfare assistance. She was living with her parents, but at the end of the month, she would disappear with the money and return home once she spent all the money. As we see in this story, my friend, she wasn't using the money for her kid. That money was supported my friend's drug addiction. Drug testing will show the government who was wasting the taxpayer money on drugs. Yes, drug testing will show the government which welfare recipients are not using the money for good things. In other words, these people could be spending that money on drugs. In the Washington Times, according to a 2007 report by Robert Wood Johnson Foundation, 20% of TAM, temporary assistance for needy family recipients, admitted to using illicit drugs sometime in the last year, with approximately $33 billion spent on TAM payment each year. It is alarming in over 6 million is supporting drug users. In this example, we can see the average of welfare recipients who are using the taxpayer money to support their drug habits. In implementing the drug testing in California, the state could save more money. According to the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services Administration for Children and Families in the article TAM, total number of recipients stated that California has the more welfare recipients. Currently, there are more than 1.4 million welfare recipients in the state of California. As we can see, California has a lot of people under this welfare health. Implementing the drug test in California could reduce its deaths. Yes, California can do it because the state of California is in debt. One of the steps to reduce its debt is testing welfare recipients in order to avoid taxpayer money going to drug addiction. According to the New York Times, in the article California Debt Higher Than Earlier Task Force report, the government Jerry Brown said when he came into the office last year that he found an alarming 28 billion world debt. That was in 2007, but I have the currently debt. According to the source California budget check in the article, does the government pay down world debt or simply add more bricks to the wall? It says that California budget is currently a $35 billion. It is estimated, but at the end of 2013, the budget would be in 20.78 billion. As you can see, the state of California could lower its debt, save money by implementing the testing drug. Well, for example, in Florida, every applicant to welfare has to prove that he or she is clean on drugs. According to the government of Florida, Scott said that he will ensure that the taxpayer money will not support drug habits. Also, he said that implementing the drug testing, the state will save $77 million taxpayer. California can reduce the debt by implementing the drug testing in welfare recipients like Florida did. Doing this, the state will save more money and will increase its budget as well. Drug testing help welfare recipients stay drug-free and be able to be employable. Yes, because people who need to welfare will stop consuming drugs. Once these people are clean on drugs, most people will be able to seek employment and possibly not need further welfare assistance. According to the Institute of Alcohol Studies, in the article Controversy over Welfare Benefits from Problem Drinking and Alcohol, it said most people with drug or alcohol dependencies also have physical or mental health problems, which can affect their ability to work. This means that welfare recipients who are in drugs could have mental problems. This could be a reason that that can escape from drugs. The drug testing will provide help to those people who could be positive to the test. Yes, according to the Corporate Source Legal Action Center, Washington, D.C., in the article, A Step to Success, Helping Women with Alcohol and Drug Problems Move from Welfare to Work, Robin Wen said, these women with drug addiction will receive help from the state in health treatment, education, and employment training services. As we can see, ladies and gentlemen, drug testing will force welfare recipients to face drug problems and be able to get assistance. In addition, it will help the state there by eliminating inappropriate use of welfare benefits from drugs. Okay, to conclude my speech, I would like to add that approving the drug testing, the state of California will not give money to people like my friend who was using the welfare assistance to support her drug addiction. It will reduce the debt and make people be able to get assistance to their drug abuse and eventually be able to seek and obtain employment. That was my speech, and I hope you like it. And yeah, thank you.
Okay, Jennifer, what did you think?
His thesis statement was really clear that California should drug test for the people that want to be on welfare. 2 suggestions for improving the speech. I would say not read your papers up there, because that's pretty much all you did. You read your papers. Maybe move around to help us with your transitioning, because I was a little lost. I like the personal story. Maybe you could incorporate something more like that, other than just state facts. But I thought it was a pretty interesting speech.
Okay. Some things on it are really solid. I think you've got a pretty good visualization at the beginning, a statement of your goal. There's a nice layout of the secondary points, so that works well. You've got excellent research in the speech. You've got a lot of information that talks about how much welfare consists of, the impact that drug users might have on the welfare process. I think that could be still needs to be developed a little bit more. The relationship to the issue of debt in California, I think, is an interesting one. I don't know how much. I mean, let's face it, any money that we save would be better for the debt. So there's an advantage there if you could build up the importance or significance of this. I think, for instance, by combining the notion that we're going to save some money because we're not going to be subsidizing these drug problems, but also then that those folks that we exclude from getting the aid are forced to confront their problem, if they could be put into productivity, that would also improve the economic situation. Because let's face it, if you manage to get out of your drug-induced stupor, get a job, you become a citizen that contributes to the community, you build economic activity, and that's the stuff that makes the state function. You know, we wouldn't be in a problem if everybody was employed. You know, our debts, our deficits would be much smaller. The big, a big drag on all of this is the fact that we aren't as productive as we could be, and there's your entrance onto that, and that is one of the reasons that we're not as productive is because we're subsidizing people who are drug users, and they put a drag on the economy. I think that's a way that you could get that in there. I like the comparison to Florida, and you talked about how much money they would be saving down there. I think that that's a pretty good illustration on that point. So I thought you did a real good job citing your information and trying to provide a variety of information to support your points. I do think you could get a little bit more emotional involvement in the presentation, and then I'm going to have to agree. The delivery thing, that's the problem that you still have. You're not talking to us, you're talking in front of us. You know, and you're reading so much. What you need to do is you need to know what your argument is and look at the audience and tell us what your argument is. When you go to the notes, it should just be for those bits and pieces of information that you can't hold on to in your head, and you need to be able to access them, but you need to remember, what I'm doing is I'm talking about my argument, and I know what my argument is. I don't have to read it word for word. This is not an English class where you're writing an essay. It's a speech class where you're trying to connect with an audience, and that's really the weakness that's going on here. Now, I know you do have a language barrier that creates a little bit of a problem on this, but I think that you do a good job when you're talking to us. So, you know what? I don't think you have to write everything out word for word. I would really discourage you from doing that, and try and encourage you to speak from an outline much more often. All right. Thank you.